Hello world, Stephen Michael Zach here, and on today's head-to-head, we are taking a look at the Falcon Eyes. I believe this is the 28 something or other 2, I'll put it on the screen, versus the GVM B200c, which I reviewed last week right there. Now, both panels were prospectively cost this much at the time of the recording of the video, and I did buy these with my own money, so these are going to be my own brutal and honest opinions as always. So let's go down to the ring to see which one's going to be crowned the champion. Okay, so let's take a look at both these lights. Now, as you can see, the Falcon Eyes has a softer case and much larger case, and I will say that the Falcon Eyes still feels a lot lighter than the GVM, and probably is. Here is the size difference. The GVM is much smaller and narrower. I will say that the GVM case is better built. This is a softer case, this is a harder case. Let's go ahead and pop open the Falcon Eyes here. And the zippers are actually much better on the GVM than the Falcon Eyes. With the Falcon Eyes, you are gonna get this kind of like nylon-y pocket, which I don't really ever use. But inside you're gonna get your typical, you're gonna get a softbox here, you're gonna get your main power cord, you're gonna get your honeycomb grid and your, what looks to be like a half grid diffusion, and you're gonna get a shoulder strap. You're also going to get a mount here, and we'll compare the mounts as well. You're going to get these Velcro elastic straps for hanging purposes, and you're going to get a clamp for your power brick. And of course, your power brick is a full-on brick, full-on ballast. There is full controls here, and you have a V-mount and a standard V-mount clamp to hang it. You can also attach the included shoulder strap, and you do have a little plug here. You have your DC out, you have DMX in and out here, and you have your Neutrex connector, and you have a hard on-off switch. Again, a nice 4.8 V-mount mount, and you do get a nice metal V-mount here, so you can mount it to there. I love this handle. It's got a nice switch, a pressy switch, a USB Type-C for firmware, and a couple of buttons there. And of course, you do have your panel here with the wire attached, and it is basically wrapped around a cardboard tube, which you need to keep. And of course, inside are going to be your frame. And to see what's in the GVM, you can go to my link and watch the review from last week to see what's inside, but let's start comparing things. Now, we've already compared the case. I think the GVM case is much better. The zippers are much stronger. But let's take a look at a few key things here. First off, let's take a look at the mount. Now, I'm going to say that with the mount, the Falcon Eyes definitely wins. You have this big Chunkosaurus mount with the GVM that you have to screw these things into, which is a huge time suck, and you can't put it away with that open, whereas with the Falcon Eyes, this just flips out like so. You kind of flip these open. Fairly easy if I do it the right way. And Bob's your uncle. There you go. You are good to go. I also do like the clamp on the pin on these. It is a shorter pin, whereas this is much larger. So here is the pin difference size. I do like this better. This seems a little bit long to me. Again, both of these probably could be replaced, the GVM a little bit easier. So I definitely do like the Falcon Eyes mount better. Just look at the difference in thickness. You can see the difference in thickness and build quality versus the very, very, very thin GVM. So there you go, there you have it. Next, let's take a look at the mounts. The GVM is a throw in the trash mount. This is absolutely garbage. It's plastic, it's garbage, it's terrible, it's clicky. Whereas the Falcon Eyes 1 is all metal and absolutely beautiful, has a very nice umbrella holder in it. This one does not. This has an umbrella holder. This just feels so much better than anything else. So again, Falcon Eyes wins for their mount. Now let's take a look at their clamp mounts here. I will definitely say I do like, again, the Falcon Eyes 1 better. It covers more of the light stand that you're going to pop it on. This is very, very, very small. but it tends to work. This is this regular clamp here. It depends on what you're clamping this on. If you have a really thick light stand or C-stand or combo stand, this will probably fit. But again, it is, actually I find this a little bit. Okay, so here we have the Falcon Eyes clamp for the power brick for the ballast, and here we have the clamp from GVM for the power bank brick for the power brick. And I will say both work very well. I like the Falcon Eyes one, although this is a little bit small and you have to make sure that you orientate this correctly. I will say I do like the ease of use of the GVM. And like I said in my review, I think this is a little bit large. You can get smaller ones, which I definitely probably will swap out. And I'll probably use the smaller one. But again, both work fairly well. This one is kind of made for the Falcon Eyes. This one, you could probably customize yourself. Way up for this. Okay, so next, let's compare the panels. Now, with the Falcon Eyes, you do, unfortunately, like the Amarans, you do have a wire attached here. Now, this is waterproof, so that's cool. You do have to keep the tubes there. And that's pretty much it for the Falcon Eyes. It is waterproof. You do have the Velcro on the back. There are no quarter 20s in the sides, but you do get some nice hard plastic corners, which is very, very nice. But what I like about the GVM and where GVM takes the cake is the fact that their panel is not connected to a wire. It again is waterproof. You get quarter 20s in the side. You can actually connect a whole bunch of these up together. And again, here are the quarter 20s. And of course, you have the one control brick on the back of the panel to control them all. Whereas with the Falcon Eyes, you will have to attach a full-on ballast. Now, here's the major difference. Here is the power for the GVM. You do get a mount for the power brick, which is nice, and it is a DC in. So if you want to add, say, a 300 or 400 plus power bank to this, you can actually power the GVM via power bank, but that is, again, an extra cost. With the RX24 TDX3 here, you are getting the mount. So that is a huge plus. And you're getting a great way to mount it, and you're getting all the controls on the ballast. You don't have to climb up and change the controls or use a phone app. And you are getting V-mount power. Whereas this, you would have to use the cell phone app, and you would absolutely have to buy some kind of additional power bank. So the Falcon Eyes wins here. Now let's talk controls. Now, while I love the one button to rule them all, and I find the GVM very easy to use, the problem is that the power bank is at the top of the light. Sure, you could probably turn it upside down and have the power bank just at the bottom, but when it comes to control, I'm not one who likes to use his cell phone a whole lot to control my lights or an extra tablet, so I do like the fact that Falcon Eyes gives you a ballast where you can actually physically control the light away from the light being boomed out overhead. I love the fact that, yes, it is V-mountable, so you can V-mount this, whereas the GVM, you're gonna have to buy a very expensive power source to plug it into. So again, I think the Falcon Eyes really shines in that. This has DMX, which is fantastic. The GVM does not. It only has Bluetooth, and I think it has RF, has the RF channels, and it has Bluetooth, whereas you can get full-on DMX with this thing, and it's full DMX, not micro DMX. So there you go. There you have it. I think that the Falcon Eyes so far is overshining the GVM. Now, let's talk about controls and features. The point where GVM knocks out Falcon Eyes is, one, there's far more color. You have 10,000 Kelvin to 200 Kelvin. The Falcon Eyes is only 5,600 Kelvin to 3,200 Kelvin. The GVM has plus minus green. The Falcon Eyes does not. The GVM has gels. It can match sources like your CFL bulbs or other kinds of in-house lighting. There is the GVM is, again, and this is where it's a little bit unfair. The GVM is actually full color, whereas the Falcon Eyes is bicolor. I do not have enough money to actually physically purchase the bicolor, the full color version of the Falcon Eyes. So it's a little bit of an unfair test. But I will say that the GVM, the color accuracy is, because it has a very usable plus minus green magenta shift. The ability to dial in your colors is fantastic. Whereas with the Falcon Eyes, you don't get that. You're going to have to match your other lights and your camera to this light. Now, both have perfectly good cables. Both have perfectly good softboxes and grids. I will say that I like the GVM grid better because it overlaps and cuts the light out. Also, with the Falcon Eyes, it does change the light quality quite a bit, a little bit too much for my taste. Whereas with the GVM, it wasn't so much of a shift. Now, when you start adding modifiers and grids and things like that, yes, your color is going to shift a bit. But again, you have controls of your reds, your greens, your blues. You have control. You have that plus minus green magenta shift in the GVM, so you can compensate for the grid, for the honeycomb grid, for the grid cloth. So again, GVM takes the cake there. So which one do I crown champion? And that answer is, it is a tie. And I will explain why I cannot decide between these two, so I'll leave it for you guys to decide. The GVM has a very usable plus minus green magenta shift. It packs up nicely. It's got a beautiful case. It's got a wire that is separate from the actual panel itself, so you don't have to worry about rolling up a wire and sticking it in the case. It packs up a heck of a lot nicer and faster and easier. I really do love the GVM. The GVM has gels, it has a usable HSI, it has a usable plus minus green magenta shift, it has special effects, it matches sources. It's got a lot of the bells and whistles, but it does not have any way to power it except wall power or buying a very expensive power bank to run it for a few hours. Whereas the Falcon Eyes, even though it is a little bit long in the tooth, it is older, I cannot get past the fact that it does have a V-mount battery solution. So GVM, if you're listening to this review, I would love for you guys to come out with some kind of power bank where you can add V-mounts, kind of like the Aperture or the Came TV. That would be fantastic if you could add a feature there. That would be extremely helpful. And would just make this would make this a solid choice. But unfortunately, because of the DMX, even though I don't use DMX, and because this has the V-mount and the ballast and the controls are separate from the light, I will be sticking with my Falcon Eyes. That is not to say that I do not absolutely love these GVM panels. I think there is definite, these are great for studio use or for indoor use, run and gun, documentary style stuff. I do think that the mount, to set up the mount is extremely slow and the mount is extremely thin. And again, I've talked ad nauseum about how terrible their little plastic clicky mount is and how you should just replace that immediately. With that said, I think GVM has a solid product, but I will definitely be sticking with my Falcon Eyes, and it's just because it has a V-mount battery. It has the controls away from the actual panel. I don't have to use a phone app. So that's it. Those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to mash the bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and I'll see you next time inside the ring.